It's amazing, isn't it? Like, how much of the world we experience is actually shaped by advertising?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Everywhere you look.
Yeah, even when you're not really paying attention to it.
Right, exactly. It's always there.
And, David Ogilvy talked about someone who understood that power.
Oh, he was a master.
Yeah.
Really knew how to cut through the noise.
He did, and he said something that always stuck with me about how the right advertising appeal can actually make sales jump. Not just a little bit, but sometimes by like 19 and a half times.
19 and a half. That's wild.
Isn't it? The difference between like a total flop and a huge hit.
Just from understanding what really connects with people.
Totally. And his book, Ogilvy on Advertising, it's not just about making pretty ads.
No, not at all.
He saw advertising as like information.
Information that leads to a sale.
Right, exactly.
And when you actually dive into that book, Ogilvy on Advertising, it's so much more than just like a how-to guide.
It's like a blueprint.
Yeah, for the whole advertising world.
No.
I mean, he covers the basics, like how to sell anything effectively. But then he goes deep into stuff like how to actually run an agency.
Oh, yeah, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. And then he gets into the different ways to advertise, like print, TV.
Even direct mail, which I know was like his favorite.
Oh, yeah, he loved that.
He did. And then he even tackles these really specific challenges, like how do you advertise for a business? How do you promote travel?
How do you build a company's image?
Yes. And even how do you compete with giants like Procter & Gamble?
He covers it all.
He really does. So for this deep dive, what we've done is we've gone all in on Ogilvy. We've dug into his research, his observations, even his predictions about where advertising was going.
It's like giving you a toolkit.
Exactly. To understand not just the ads themselves, but the whole psychology behind them.
The strategies they use.
Right, yeah. So whether you work in marketing or you just want to know why certain ads stick in your head.
This is for you.
This is it. Because we're not just breaking down ads, we're going deeper. We're trying to understand, like, the forces that shape what we buy.
And how we see the world.
Exactly. And today, our goal is to extract the most crucial, the most fascinating insights from Ogilvy's experience. So you can get that, like, insider knowledge.
Without having to read the entire book.
Without reading hundreds of pages, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump in.
All right, so first things first. We got to start with what Ogilvy called, quote, homework, end quote.
Homework. Oh.
Yeah. But not like, boring schoolwork.
Got it.
He's talking about really, really thorough research
Oh, okay.
on the product you're advertising and the market you want to reach. Remember that statistic we mentioned earlier?
The 19 and a half times sales difference.
It's it. That came from understanding the audience.
So like knowing what makes people tick.
Their needs, their wants, what appeals to them.
Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark.
Blindly.
And all this research, this is what sets you up for what Ogilvy called positioning.
Okay, positioning. Tell me more about that.
It's about finding that unique space for your product in the consumer's mind, defining what it is, and maybe even more important, what it isn't.
Compared to the competition.
Exactly.
I see.
And then there's brand image.
Okay, so this is like the feeling people have about a brand.
Yes. And Ogilvy said that often this image can be more important than the actual features of a product.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not just about what it does, it's about...
It's about the feeling, the association.
Wow. Like, think about luxury brands.
Right.
You're buying into an idea as much as like a physical thing.
Precisely. So all of this, the research, the positioning, the brand image, it all leads to what Ogilvy called the big idea.
Big idea. That sounds, well, big.
It is. It's not just a catchy slogan. It's the core creative concept behind your whole campaign.
Got it. So it has to resonate with people.
Deeply.
And it has to last.
Exactly. Think about those classic ad campaigns that you still remember.
The ones that stick with you.
Yep. They all had that one powerful, simple idea behind them.
Okay, that makes sense.
And one thing Ogilvy was all about was clarity.
Clarity.
He kept saying that advertising needs simple, straightforward messages.
Where the product is the star.
Yes. The hero. He said the ad shouldn't be so flashy that it overshadows what's being sold.
So it's not about, like, showing off.
No, it's about honesty, clearly communicating the benefits.
I see.
He even said that brands should aim to be seen as reliably good by truthfully presenting their advantages.
Rather than, like, bragging about being the best.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about how Ogilvy saw different ways to advertise.
Okay. Because there's so many options.
Right. And even though TV was getting really popular in his time,
And now, of course, we have the whole digital world.
yeah, he always believed in the power of print advertising.
Print. Interesting.
He knew that people often focus more when they read, and he thought the headline was super important.
The headline, like the title.
Yeah. He said 5 times more people read the headline than the actual body copy.
Wow, so that first impression really matters.
It does. And for Ogilvy, the best headlines were the ones that promised a benefit to the reader or presented some kind of news.
So it has to grab their attention.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, here's something interesting. He was a big believer in long copy.
Long copy, like a lot of text.
Yeah, which might seem counterintuitive nowadays.
Right, because everything's supposed to be short and snappy.
Exactly. But Ogilvy argued that for certain products, especially expensive or complicated ones, details actually help.
People want information.
They do. They want to understand what they're buying. He was also meticulous about things like typography.
Typography, the font.
Right, the font, the spacing, all that.
Because it affects readability.
Exactly. And he even liked layouts that looked like editorial content.
Like an article.
Yeah, because people are naturally drawn to that, more than a blatant ad.
Interesting. So what about TV?
Ah, television. Well, Ogilvy did a ton of research on TV commercials.
To see what really worked.
Exactly. And he noticed some patterns. Commercials that used humor or showed slice-of-life scenarios.
Yeah.
Those did well.
Slice of life, like relatable situations.
Right, where the product solves a problem that people actually face.
Okay. What else?
Testimonials from real people, demonstrations of the product.
Yeah.
Those were effective.
So showing the product in action.
Yes. Also, talking heads, directly conveying information, creating memorable characters, making reason why arguments, announcing news about the product.
Wow, a lot of variety.
There is. And using emotion, that's powerful too.
Yeah, tugging at the heartstrings.
Exactly. But there were also things that he found didn't work so well.
Oh, like what?
Celebrity endorsements.
Really? Those are everywhere, though.
I know, but often people remember the celebrity, not the brand.
Ah, I see.
He also wasn't a fan of cartoons for adults
Interesting.
and musical vignettes. He thought they were often more entertaining than informative.
So style over substance.
Yeah, kind of. He even came up with 16 practical tips for making good TV commercials.
Ooh, like what?
Things like, make sure people know what the brand is right away. Show the product packaging clearly. Use close-ups to highlight features. And don't change scenes too quickly. It confuses people.
Good advice. Now, we can't talk about Ogilvy without talking about direct mail.
Oh, his first love, as he called it.
And his secret weapon.
He was way ahead of the curve on that one. He knew that technology, especially computers and databases, would allow for really targeted mail campaigns.
So you could reach the right people.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And he still believed in long, informative copy, just like in print ads.
So not just a quick flyer.
No, something with substance.
Yeah.
And he was all about testing different elements, headlines, offers, layouts.
To see what got the best response.
Exactly. Now, Ogilvy also looked at how to advertise in specific situations.
Okay, like what?
Well, take corporate advertising, for example.
So not selling a specific product.
Right. It's about promoting the whole company.
Building a good reputation.
Yes. He said it could boost public trust, employee morale, even stock prices.
Wow, so it has a big impact.
It can. But he warned about some common mistakes, too, like setting vague goals, not researching public perception.
And creating generic messages that don't stand out.
Exactly. He even had examples of corporate slogans that were so bland they could apply to any business.
Ouch. Okay, so what about advertising for travel?
Travel. He understood that it's about tapping into people's dreams.
Turning those travel fantasies into reality.
Yes. He said you need stunning visuals, but also practical information. Costs, accommodations, transportation.
So people can actually plan their trip.
Right. And it's important to address those concerns people have, like language barriers, safety.
So put their minds at ease.
Exactly. And you have to showcase those unique experiences that you can't find anywhere else.
The stuff that makes that destination special.
Exactly. Then there's business-to-business advertising, or B2B.
Okay, so advertising aimed at other businesses.
Yeah. Ogilvy actually cited research from McGraw-Hill showing that advertising is a more cost-effective way to reach potential clients than just relying on sales calls.
Interesting. So it's about making those initial connections.
Exactly. And he said it's important to make clear, believable promises, guarantees, excellent support, responsive service.
Stuff that businesses really care about.
And back it up with data, case studies, testimonials from experts.
So it's not just empty promises.
Right. And he liked the idea of offering demonstrations, providing informative content like white papers.
To show your expertise.
Yeah. And he pointed out that sometimes you need different approaches for the technical people and the top management.
Because their needs are different.
Exactly. Now, Ogilvy wasn't afraid to tackle tough topics, like how do you compete with the big guys?
Like the industry giants.
Exactly. And he used Procter & Gamble as an example.
P&G, those guys are everywhere.
They are. And he laid out their strategies: thorough market research, aggressive product sampling, aiming for market dominance, launching multiple brands in one category.
Wow, they're playing chess, not checkers.
Right. They're serious.
Mm.
They also have a deep understanding of consumers. They constantly strive for product superiority.
They use consistent long-term advertising, and they focus on one clear benefit.
You got it.
So basically, they're really good at what they do.
They are. But Ogilvy also pointed out that even P&G isn't perfect.
They've had some flops.
They have. And he said that competitors can win by offering better products or by being more innovative with their marketing.
So even the giants have weaknesses.
They do. But understanding how they operate, that's valuable for anyone.
Absolutely. Now, throughout his work, Ogilvy championed the role of research in advertising.
Oh, he loved research. He even called it the 18 miracles of research.
18 miracles, that's a lot.
It is. He compared its importance to military intelligence.
Wow, so crucial for making good decisions.
Essential. And he gave tons of examples of how research can be used: measuring a company's reputation, estimating sales for new products, testing product concepts, comparing products, understanding consumer preferences, evaluating packaging.
So basically, research for everything.
Pretty much. But he also cautioned that research should inform creativity, not dictate it.
So it's a tool, not a rule book.
Exactly. Now, beyond advertising techniques and research, Ogilvy also shared some broader marketing wisdom.
Okay, let's do it.
He stressed the importance of developing new products.
To stay ahead of the game.
Exactly. And he also pointed out the potential of reviving existing products that might be underperforming.
He called them sleeping beauties.
He did. And he used brands like Listerine and Hershey as examples.
So even old products can find new life with the right approach.
Absolutely. He also observed that companies who kept advertising during recessions often came out stronger.
So don't cut back when times are tough.
Right. And then he made some predictions about the future of advertising.
Ooh, I love predictions. What did he say?
He thought research would get more sophisticated. He saw a comeback for print advertising.
Interesting.
He thought ads would become more informative and less promotional. He predicted billboards might disappear.
Really?
Yeah. And he hoped the industry would get better at controlling the amount of commercials.
Because no one likes being bombarded with ads.
Exactly. He also thought governments would use advertising more for education and health initiatives.
That makes sense.
And he saw a future where direct response techniques would be integrated with general advertising.
So a more holistic approach.
Exactly. Now, Ogilvy also tackled the big question: what's wrong and right with advertising?
Yeah, it gets a lot of criticism.
It does. He acknowledged the critiques from intellectuals, but he also pointed to the defenses from business leaders.
People who saw its value.
Right. And while he admitted advertising had flaws, he also highlighted its benefits.
Like promoting tourism, supporting charities.
And providing information to consumers.
Right. He also talked about truthfulness in advertising.
He said laws and industry standards help prevent deception.
So there are safeguards in place.
There are. He also wasn't worried about subliminal manipulation.
So those hidden messages people talk about.
He thought those were largely unfounded.
Okay.
And he even suggested that political advertising was often less honest than commercial advertising.
Interesting point.
But here's the bottom line, he said. Even the best advertising can't save a bad product.
So quality matters most.
It's the foundation. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of David Ogilvy,
What's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's this. Understanding these principles gives you a new way to see the world, the persuasive forces all around us.
Whether you're making ads or just trying to make sense of them.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how art and science come together in advertising.
Absolutely. Now, here's something for everyone to think about.
Okay, I like this.
In today's digital world, with so many different platforms, how are Ogilvy's principles holding up?
Yeah, it's a different landscape.
What new big ideas are emerging?
What's capturing attention now?
Exactly. We encourage you to look at the ads you see every day with this new understanding.
Think about the research behind them,
The positioning, the brand image.
the messages they're trying to get across.
And if you're intrigued and want to learn more, definitely check out Ogilvy on advertising.
It's a classic for a reason.
It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, how much of the world we experience is actually shaped by advertising?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Everywhere you look.
Yeah, even when you're not really paying attention to it.
Right, exactly. It's always there.
And, David Ogilvy talked about someone who understood that power.
Oh, he was a master.
Yeah.
Really knew how to cut through the noise.
He did, and he said something that always stuck with me about how the right advertising appeal can actually make sales jump. Not just a little bit, but sometimes by like 19 and a half times.
19 and a half. That's wild.
Isn't it? The difference between like a total flop and a huge hit.
Just from understanding what really connects with people.
Totally. And his book, Ogilvy on Advertising, it's not just about making pretty ads.
No, not at all.
He saw advertising as like information.
Information that leads to a sale.
Right, exactly.
And when you actually